Let's talk about a huge shift happening in the business world right now. It's about human resources, but maybe not the HR you're thinking of. We're seeing HR evolve from just a support role into this incredibly predictive, strategic powerhouse. And what's fueling this change? It's all about data. We're going to dive into how companies like VDoc are making this incredible transformation from being a historian to becoming a prophet. So let me ask you this. We all hear that saying, right? People are our most important asset. But are we really acting like it? Think about it. Without data, all those critical decisions about who to hire, who to promote, who to invest in, they're basically just guesswork. It's all based on intuition. And that is a huge, huge risk to take with the most vital resource your company has. Because let's be real, the business landscape today is just relentless. You've got digital transformation, automation, global competition coming from everywhere. The old way of managing people, it just doesn't cut it anymore. Not even close. Companies absolutely need a smarter, more strategic approach to their human capital if they want to survive, let alone thrive. And this right here, this really gets to the heart of the transformation. I love this comparison. See, traditional HR has always been the historian. It's great at writing reports about what happened last month or last quarter. But this new data-driven HR, it's a prophet. It uses data to forecast what will happen and even recommends the best way to handle it. It's really the difference between trying to drive your car by only looking in the rearview mirror versus using a GPS with live traffic updates telling you the best route forward. It's a total game changer. Okay, so how do you actually make that leap? How do you go from historian to prophet? Well, it takes a whole new playbook. And we're about to look at the data-first approach that companies like VTOC are using to basically write their own future. Now, at the very heart of this new playbook is something called a human capital intelligence platform. It sounds complicated, but think of it like this. It's the central nervous system for your entire workforce. It's one single place that brings together every single piece of data you have about your people to create this one holistic, intelligent view of the entire organization. It's powerful stuff. So how does this thing actually work? Well, it really boils down to a pretty logical three-step process. First, you have to centralize all your data. Get it all into a single data warehouse. No more random spreadsheets scattered everywhere. Step 2, you visualize the key metrics, the KPIs, on real-time dashboards so your leaders can see what's happening right now. And then step 3, the really exciting part. You unleash an AI engine to start predicting future trends and actually recommend the best course of action. All right, that all sounds great in theory, right? But what does this actually look like in action? Let's get into the nitty-gritty and see how a platform like this solves some really critical, real-world business problems. Okay, here's a question that probably keeps every CEO up at night. You look out across the sea of employees. How on earth do you reliably pick out and develop the next generation of leaders? The people who are going to secure the company's future? This is where data just brings incredible clarity. By analyzing things like performance reviews, competency scores, which, just measure key job skills, and engagement levels, a company like VDAC can actually segment its entire workforce into these really distinct groups. And this is huge because it lets them move way beyond that old one-size-fits-all approach. As you can see here, your high potentials can be put on an accelerated leadership path. Your at-risk employees, they get a proactive retention plan. Everyone gets a strategy tailored specifically to them. No more wasted effort. And here's another multi-million-dollar question for you. Why are our best people leaving? Why do they just walk out the door? Because unwanted turnover, it's not just costly. It can absolutely cripple your best teams and completely derail your most important strategic projects. Well, using AI, you can actually build what are called attrition prediction models. These algorithms sift through dozens of data points to flag employees who are a high flight risk. And here's the kicker. They can often do it before that person even thinks about updating their LinkedIn profile. This allows HR to step in proactively. It completely transforms the game from doing reactive exit interviews after they've already quit to launching proactive pre-exit interventions that can actually save the company's most valuable talent. And this data-driven approach isn't just about stopping people from leaving. It also completely revolutionizes employee development. So instead of putting everybody through the same old generic workshops, you can have AI analyze individual skill gaps and performance to recommend a personalized learning path for every single employee. Just think about that. It means you stop just training people for the sake of it, and you start systematically building the exact capabilities your organization needs to win in the marketplace. Okay, now I know what you might be thinking. This sounds massive. It sounds really complex. And it can be, but the key is to approach it with a clear, step-by-step, manageable roadmap. Right, it's a journey of building up your capabilities over time. You don't do it all at once. You start with the absolute foundation, getting all your data clean and centralized into that single source of truth. Then you move to phase 2, visualization, which lets you actually see what's happening. After that, you're ready to introduce basic AI models, like for predicting attrition. And finally, you get to the top tier, phase 4, with advanced AI that can do things like workforce forecasting and guide really complex strategic decisions. So after you've gone through that whole roadmap, what's the ultimate payoff? When you put all these pieces together, what is the strategic bottom line for the business? This quote from the source material, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? The HR department transforms into the strategic brain of the corporation. It stops being just an administrative function and becomes this analytical, intelligent core that's guiding the biggest decisions. Benefit number 1, you create a sustainable competitive advantage. Think about it. Any of your competitors can go out and buy the same software or the same machinery, but you can't just buy a perfectly skilled, highly adaptable, and deeply engaged workforce. That has to be built intentionally from the inside. Second, you achieve maximum efficiency. I mean, just imagine slashing waste in your recruiting budget because your hiring predictions are suddenly way more accurate. Imagine targeting your training dollars only where they're going to have the most impact. You're optimizing the entire system because you finally have a way to ensure the right people are in the right roles, building the right skills at the right time. And third, and this is maybe the biggest one, you elevate strategic governance. This is the ultimate goal, right? Your leadership team is no longer making these incredibly critical decisions about people, about culture, about the very structure of the organization based on gut feel. Instead, they're empowered with hard data and predictive insights, allowing them to steer the company with a kind of precision and confidence they've never had before. So in the end, the amazing thing is that all this potential, it's probably already sitting there, right inside your company's own systems. The data holds the answers to your most pressing, most expensive challenges. So the only question left to ask is, are you ready to start asking the right questions?